Powered by Sports Interaction, Canada Sportsbook.
Well, this is not going to be a happy show. Welcome, everyone, to Game Over Calgary. I'm Peter. He is Noah. And this is going to be, I believe the note that Noah sent to me before we got going was, well, time to vent, which it is. And we'll let Noah do that in a second here. First of all, thank you all so much for tuning in. Share the stream, all of those things, and we'll get the ad read out of the way so I'm not screaming and not completely losing my voice by the time we get to the actual sponsor. So, think you know how it's going to go. For the Flames, that generally means they're going to lose. Make your bet with Sports Interaction. Whether it's World Cup, hockey, football, or basketball, Sports Interaction has you covered. Bet pregame, live in play, or on one of our many prop bets. Sports Interaction makes it easy to deposit, play, and cash out. Join now. See all sports betting has to offer. Want to bet? Head to sportsinteraction.com/SDPN. That's sportsinteraction.com/SDPN. 19 years and older. Please play responsibly. The line that Audie always uses is the Flames didn't play responsibly. And boy, they didn't. So a couple of things. Welcome, Noah. Thank you for joining us. You're going to be doing a lot of heavy lifting today because my voice is starting to go a little bit. I'm still a little bit under the weather. But first of all, I'm sorry I made you watch that. How are you today, sir?
Wow. First of all, I'm very honored to be on this show on Game Over Calgary. Big thanks to you for having me on along with the crew at SDPN. I mean, what the hell did I just watch there? Like really, what, man, this team sometimes makes me very, very sad, Pete. It was such a flamesy, just another one of those flamesy days today for the Calgary Flames. And we'll get really right into it here. Because if it wasn't for Dan Vladar, man, who knows where this game would have gone.
Yeah, they're down by a touchdown after the first period, if it's not for Dan Vladar. What we watched, to answer your question, which I know is a rhetorical question, what we watched was a really good hockey team play the Calgary Flames. That's what we watched tonight.
Yep.
They were dreadful. And the first note I have had it already. We're, 20 games in? I've had it already with excuses. First, the homestand was too long. Then, it's too many games out east. Oh, look at that, you're bouncing between time zones. Oh, it's too long of a road trip. At some point, this team just sucks. And I don't think they suck. I just think they're playing like a hockey team that sucks. But at some point, which is normally around now, right? American Thanksgiving, at some point you kind of are what you are. And the Flames are just blah. Like that. I don't know what this team is. And we're at American Thanksgiving. Christmas is less than a month away. I don't know.
Typical Calgary Flames. They're not good enough to be amazing, and they're not bad enough to be really, really bad. And this is where they are. They're back right in the middle where they usually are. And this is very frustrating to see because, when does it get to the point where it's really time to start pushing the panic button? Do I think we're there yet? I mean, this team's still, I don't know if this team's still in the playoff spot right now, but I think I'm very close to that point.
Yeah, no, I am with you. Taking a look at the standings right now, they are some crazy how in a playoff spot. They are 1 point up on St. Louis and Nashville, who may never play again because their arena's flooded, and the Minnesota Wild. But it's funny they're doing the reverse retro because it's a fitting tribute to the jerseys behind you, right? Where it's this team's great good enough to finish 10th. You know, that's where this team is right now. Like they are a solid just missed the playoffs team.
Yeah, exactly. That's just very typical Calgary Flames for you. A team that is never going to tank and be that very, very bad, and a team that's not going to be, oh my God, they're like the New York Yankees, incredible.
Yeah. What is it? Where are we at here? We are 6 minutes in. We got a Yankees reference already. But no, I wrote down my frustrations, and it's basically everything but Vladar. We will get to Vladar, by the way. When they play well, I kind of do the compliment sandwich. Oh, this was good. This could have been improved. And this was good. Today, this was terrible. This was okay. And we're back to the terrible stuff. The first thing I want to get to is how bad they were defensively. Carolina could do anything they wanted. Cross ice passes, and the guy is just waiting there for the one-timer. Defensively, this team was terrible today. And I get it's the second half of a back-to-back. If you want to use that as an excuse, don't play like dog shit against Washington. and then we can talk. But you didn't expend a ton of effort playing against Washington. So, but like, there was just, I want to say their D zone coverage was awful. That is to suggest there was any.
Yeah. Well, another thing I'll mention too is like Zadorov and taking penalties. Can you
Yes.
seriously name me a greater duo than that?
Yeah, it's like he saw Sam Bennett when they played in Florida. I was like, you know what? Taking the torch from you, buddy. We got this.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and the power play, man. Like, I can't get over just how terrible this power play is. And they scored a power play goal today, and I'm like, how did that happen?
Something about a blind squirrel in a nut, right? Like
What, right?
Well, and that's like the Michael Stone thing has been cute, you know. And like this is the thing. Like Zadorov has had his moments where it's been great, and then he's had his moments where you wonder how you play in the NHL. And Stone,
Right.
like it amazing story. Calgary dude has been on 45 PTOs, hasn't signed a 2-year contract in his life, and is making it on the Flames all the time. He shouldn't be an everyday defenseman on this team or
No,
on
he shouldn't.
a team. Like he is a wonderful 6'7" guy, but to be like the keystone of your power play and be out there in like actual real minutes, it shouldn't happen. It just shouldn't. Like
Not at all.
again love the story, but we're getting too much of it now.
Yeah, exactly. And even another thing too, it's like, when the hell is Daryl going to give Matthew Phillips an opportunity?
Right?
Listen. Daryl he's going to be a Hall of Fame coach, and he's one of the best coaches to have ever coached the game. But I will never get why he doesn't give Matthew Phillips an opportunity here, because like you have Ruzicka up, and he's actually performing well. And this is why you bring up the kids, give them an opportunity.
Yes, he saved the fourth line last year, Ruzicka. Like
He did.
and this year he was maybe their best player tonight. You know, like
Yeah.
He's at least on the podium. Okay, skater like Dan Vladar was clearly the best player tonight. But like, no, I'm with you 100%. It is time. Like Richie, Lucic, Lewis were unusable tonight. Just you could. I mean, this afternoon. Sorry, it's a little bit dark out now, but you could not use those guys at any point. What are we waiting for? Matthew Phillips is a point per game player down there. I like that Zari is kind of in control of his own line there, and there is a bit more growth, so that one I can understand. But Phillips and Pelche should be here yesterday.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, this team's not scoring goals right now. And you know what Matthew Phillips is doing with the Wranglers right now? Scoring goals.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, seriously, when's enough? When have you seen enough to be like, okay, it's time to bring him up?
Yeah. About a week ago, maybe is where I was at.
Yeah, maybe even 2 weeks ago for crying out loud. Like really, like what are we doing here? You know, keep using Trevor Lewis and Lucic over and over again. Like what the hell are we doing here?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm dealing with some stuff over here, but yes, no, I'm with
you're
you.
good.
The Lewis thing, like yes, his underlying numbers were great. He was also playing with Backlund and Coleman a lot. You know whose underlying numbers are great with those two guys? Fucking everybody's, right? Like, you put them out there with no, not the best of guys, but that line was a complete anchor tonight. Did they get a shot all night? Like, they were terrible.
I don't think so. At least from now what I saw, right? And I think someone posted the meme of, I don't know, I can't remember who it was. I don't know if it was the win column or something, but they posted like a meme of a basketball player with zeros on the side. And it basically says Milan Lucic every single game.
Yeah. Oh,
like the guy is just terrible at this point. Can we just all admit that he cannot come back next season to the Calgary Flames, that there needs to be better options on that bottom six?
Yes. 100%.
Should
be there now. Sorry to cut you off, but no, there's nothing there right now. And
absolutely
that fourth line had some spark at the beginning of the year and kept them in a couple of games, quite frankly, a couple of times. That is gone now. And that's not something you can rely on. That's that's nice to have. That's not we need to have it. But no, if it were me, I'm finding the close or the first suitor for Lewis, and like Richie is eating popcorn for a bit, and it's Phillips and it's probably Pelche to try to give a bit of a spark to that group.
I 100% agree.
Like offensively, there's nothing on this team right now.
There's nothing at all. Like nobody's scoring goals. Like Huberdeau's not scoring goals. Kadri was out to an amazing start, but he has basically been completely ghost ever since then. Like, man, like nobody's contributing right now in that top six.
Yeah.
You need spark and you need offense like right now here. Like this thing could go completely even more south if this thing doesn't get fixed.
Yes. A couple of notes from the chat here. Just also, shout out to everyone watching. It's a weird start for a game. Not yesterday's, but please remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share this. Like, we're trying to grow this thing. I have said it before. The community that we are building here has been amazing. I love talking with you guys every Flames game that we get a chance to. Even on the days where I don't have a voice and they suck. It's still fun to talk to you guys. We're trying to grow this thing. So share it with share it out on your social media. That would do us a whole lot of good. Taking a look here at the chat for the first time. Robert, I agree. It was rude. Ryan, I had a great birthday, and then I sounded like this for 4 days. So thank you very much for that, though. How many losses before we can talk about Bedard again? This team is beyond that point already.
Yeah,
right?
they're not going to be that bad.
No. Do they have their first round pick this year?
Yes.
Do they? Okay.
I think so. I think so.
I thought that was part of the Monahan thing, but I could be.
Here, I can double check quick on that front. Let's see here, 2023.
J Money with the compliments to Noah. Confirmed dog in the building. My question is: it time to call out Matthew Phillips?
Yes.
Yeah, I
absolutely, 1000% yes.
Yeah, I would do that tomorrow. Like that. That is.
Yeah.
I don't see a reason not to at this point. Is kind of where I'm at with it.
You're at the point where you're not scoring offensively, and you need offense like right now, like right this instant.
Yeah, 100%.
Let's see here.
Ryan Pike confirming that the Flames do have a first. So shout out Pike.
Okay.
Also, Flames
shout out Pike.
Yes. There was one other one here that. Oh yeah, someone saying I'm losing faith in Daryl. I was there a bit ago. I think that like. At some point, the players have to play, right? But I do think him, pardon my French, him fucking around with the Lions after that game against Edmonton, where it was so clear what happened. Markstrom
could have been, sorry to cut you off, but that could have been the worst thing that happened to this team, was him changing those lines after the game against Edmonton, right? And I was just, when I saw that, I was just like, what? Like, what's the point of this? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Like, why change up what's been working for you?
Exactly. Like it was, everything was going fine. You know, it wasn't perfect, but it was going fine. And what they needed was time to gel. And then he blew it up, and they haven't got back to anything close to that since. And now there's no identity. No one knows what anyone is doing. Like I think that they are really trying to make up for that, and they haven't got back to it. Awful decision by Daryl. Now,
you know, to that comment on the chat there about have you lost faith in Daryl? Like, I'm trying to be careful here when it comes to that, because this is a Hall of Fame coach, and this is a guy who does know what he's doing. But I think if the longer this keeps up, the more my lack of faith in Daryl is gonna start to creep in. So in translation, I'm still not. No, you're good. So in translation, I'm still not at that point yet.
No, like I don't agree with what he's doing, but no, you're not firing him or anything like that.
No, absolutely. You literally just signed into a 3-year extension. Like, you're not firing him.
Yeah, fair. Noah, tell the people where they can find your work here while I cough for a second.
Sure. So, obviously you all can find me on Twitter and Instagram, my Twitter being at real Noah Adler 99 and Instagram, Noah Adler 99. And also I co-host the Shot Down in Flames podcast on Flames Nation with Audie James, Rinifire CGY, Robert, and Taryn Judd Vinny, straight out of Calgary.
Perfect. Okay. Segment 2. What I did like about this team. Dan Vladar, again, was phenomenal. And another one where I don't know why he's not playing more. I can't wrap my head around the thought that this guy's only playing like once every other week. Like, I still think Markstrom's the number one here, don't get me wrong. But Vladar needs to be playing more.
I saw a tweet from Salim Vaji like a little bit ago, and he said that if you were to give Vladar 4 to 5 starts, you know, and give Markstrom some more breathing room, that could be beneficial for him in the long run. And I completely agree with that. Like, here's the thing. starting your goalie 60 times in a season, that just doesn't work anymore. Like, I'm sorry. Like, you have to split the starts per season between your starter and your backup. Because, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to use any excuses for Markstrom and how he performed against the Oilers, but it could have been he played too many games last year that was leading to the playoffs. I've zero clue, but I've been saying Vladar needs more starts like this season, like 1,000%.
Yeah, like I do think that the reason that Markstrom struggled so much was um how worn out he was. He played more games last year
Yeah,
than he's played at any point in his career. Like that has to
that's
wear
right.
on you. And they can't say coming into the year, Vladar gonna get more starts now than or like once a week. We haven't seen it. Like this guy, I'm with you. I think we need, excuse me, just need to see more of him.
Yeah, like this is not the era where you're playing Marty Brodeur 70 games a year, where you're playing Kipper 70 games a year. Like goalies just don't do that anymore. Like you have to split time between your backup and your starter. Like you can't overwork your starter because if you overwork your starter, he's gonna lay an egg in the playoffs.
Yeah, 100%. Like that's why even like teams with like Vasilevsky, even he doesn't play that much. Like you need that balance to help you out. It's all about like it's not about winning these games now. It's about keeping your guys excuse me, jeez. Keeping your guys fresh
Yeah.
for
Keeping your
April,
guys
May,
healthy and
God willing,
keeping your
June.
guys healthy and fresh for the games down the stretch where it means the most. Like I mean, and
Yeah.
that's I think what happened last year with Markstrom was he played too many games to the point where he got completely like overworked by Daryl heading into
Yeah.
that series against the Oilers.
100%. I also like Toffoli in this game. I know he scored. Shout out to Robert for pointing that out. Sorry. I think Toffoli was a bright spot in this game.
I would agree. I would agree.
And I want to see more of him with Huberto. That's I think a combination that works going forward. What do you think?
It was a good it almost felt like a good combo to start the year. Like Toffoli started out like really really well there, and he was scoring goals. Like
Yeah.
I think and until like they broke up the lines there in the Edmonton game, I think, or whichever game it was that Daryl completely threw the lines in the blender and restarted everything. So I would say just stick with that. Just stick with
Yeah.
Huberto and Toffoli together.
Yeah. I like Huberto's your best playmaker. Toffoli probably your best finisher.
Yeah,
It just it
yeah,
makes too much sense. Like the way they
yeah.
had the way they had the lines at the beginning of the year, I kind of thought everyone just fit. Like that's why I was so frustrated that they went away with it. If they had time to gel, I thought that was kind of the optimal way to set everything up. That's why I was so frustrated by it.
Toffoli scored 40 goals in the 56 game season. And that's something people forget about.
Yeah.
But like you have to stick to that. There's no going away from that. Like stick with what works here. Like seriously.
Totally. Yeah, 100% agree. A couple more from the chat here. Thank you to everyone who is involved in the chat. Sorry that I'm struggle busting so much here today. Um, Robert saying, Toffoli is always a bright spot in my life. I think we can all agree with that, for the most part. Um, let me see here. It's about getting your goalies to the peak in the playoff. Completely agree, J Money. What happened to Sutter saying that he was going to play Vidar once a week?
Yeah.
That definitely hasn't happened. And there have been
Yeah.
chances too as well, right? Like I think Markstrom played both spots of a back to back. Like I do not understand the usage at all for the goalies or almost anyone. And you're right. Daryl Sutter has forgotten more about hockey since this stream started than I'll ever know. That doesn't mean he's never wrong though, right? Like look
Mm-hmm.
at his GM record. Like I think he overmanaged too quick and they have not been able to pull the nose up since.
I would 100 I would totally agree with that as well.
A couple more from the chat here. Trust the process. That is kind of the end thing. Like, it's frustrating now.
Well, when does it get to the point where you can't trust the process anymore?
Close.
And when does it get to the point where, you're like, okay, you know what? This is not working. What are we
Yeah.
doing here?
No, you're right. Because, like, it just, there's nothing, right? There's nothing to latch onto. This game, they're down by 1 in the third period.
Mm-hmm.
Before, well, I wasn't the biggest fan of them at times. You knew,
Yeah.
okay, Gaudreau and Kachuk, like, one of them is going to do something. I don't know who that is on this team right now. That there isn't that guy who's like, hey, hop on, boys, let's go. Like, everyone's just kind of there. There isn't that, there isn't that one guy who's like, okay, I got this, let's go. There was just a bunch of passengers, really.
Man, do you honestly think we're at that point now where we're saying to ourselves, boy, do I miss Goudreau and Kachuk?
I mean, we're getting on the power play. Yes, 100% we are. They still did so well with those trades, right? Like, they rebounded.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
100%, like always and forever, full credits. But they need someone to step up in those spots now. It's one thing to get the names, but now you have to get like the production back from somewhere. And
You do.
like Kadri, he was great at the start of the year, but that hasn't necessarily been his bag. Huberdeau has been fine in spots, but it's just there hasn't been that guy who's like, okay, I got this. Don't worry about it. Let's roll. And I don't think Gaudreau was that enough, but it's I don't know. Like I'm with you where you're starting to notice the absence a little bit more.
Yeah, and I mean, and again, like we need to cut it with the excuses, but I'll say this as well. Like I wonder if it like when it comes to a guy like Jonathan Huberdeau, right? If it's taken still a lot of time for him to adjust to a system like Daryl Sutter's, because Daryl Sutter's system of hockey is a brutal system to play.
Yes.
Like and at some point, and this is why Daryl's shelf life of a coach is extremely short, because it'll work in the beginning, but then it wears off after a period of time.
Yeah.
Just like Dustin Brown in LA, for example.
Excellent point. And with that, you have Huberdeau adjusting to a new climate, because it's different here than it is in Florida. Adjusting to new line mates who both shot right-handed for the first time that he's had to deal with that in his life. And Daryl Sutter hockey. And then you mix it up on him after 7 games because, we're switching the lines because I didn't like how he played in that one game. Like, I think it was piling too much homework on at once.
I think so too.
He's been able to catch up.
Yeah, and I still think like the game you decide to blend the entire lines, that's when things start to go downhill. And you give your lines time to gel.
Yes.
You don't blend the lines after one bad game. You look for them to bounce back the next game.
Yeah, 100%. 100% agree. Jay Money with an interesting note here that I think we'll close on today as I slowly die in front of all of you. Trade targets for the upcoming months. Here is the thing with the Flames and that. They have like $84 in cap space right now. If this team is going to make a move to kind of switch things up, I think it kind of has to be internally. Unless you're moving money in, money out, and then you're not really solving the problem, right? Because you need more, I think, like more talent, not just an upgrade on a couple of the guys you have, if that makes sense. You know, like you need more NHL caliber players throughout the roster, not just a slight upgrade on the ones you have.
See, like if you were to make a trade involving like a Patrick Kane or all that stuff, you don't exactly have the assets for that right now.
No.
And the only trade that you could possibly make for that involves money would be Tyler Toffoli. But even that's not freeing up enough space.
No, you would need them to eat like half of the contract, and then you would need like Toffoli and a little bit to get there. Like there isn't that
not enough there.
You know, like a Bo Horvat would be perfect, I think, in Daryl's system. I don't know if he needs centers right now, but that type of a player. But again, he's making $6 million.
Plus, it's Vancouver too. So would the Flames want to pay the price within the division rival?
Yeah, like do you want to see Zari in a Canucks jersey for the next 15 years? Probably not. So the Flames, this is it. There isn't that big move unless Lucic gets hurt, or if they go to him and like, hey, seems like you have a lot of inflammation lately. Maybe like you know how a pitcher gets worn out in baseball for like 8 runs in 3 innings, and they go on the IL for elbow inflammation. It's like everyone has inflammation. It's in our bodies all the time. But I wonder if there's hey Lucic, walking a little slow lately. Maybe a little LTIR for you. Unless that happens, there's no move coming.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's too many factors that, have to be considered, whether it be cap space. So the only big move I think that's coming in the next little bit here is probably going to be from within.
Yeah.
Either a Matthew Phillips call up or something to that extent.
Yeah, it's going to be Phillips or it's going to be Pelche.
It's gonna, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I think that's a pretty good spot to lay out. Once again, Noah, get your stuff in, man. Plug. Where can we find you?
Yes. So you can find me on Twitter at real Noah Adler 99 and on Instagram at Noah Adler 99. Plus, you can go listen to the Shutdown Flames podcast that I help co-host along with the other co-hosts on this show in particular, Audie James and Rinafire CGY Robert Munich and Taryn Judvin, who also is known as Straight Outta Calgary.
Nice. Noah currently attending the second best broadcasting school in all of Calgary. With at St. Even the Mount Royal dropouts get some good stuff. So, but yeah, check out Noah's stuff. If you like the shirt that I've been coughing into for the last half hour, sdpnshop.ca. BF Fun for 20% off. Sign up for the SDPN newsletter as well to find additional savings when you can. I'm not just like slowly Charlie Chaplining this mustache for nothing. I do have a Movember page. You can find it on my social media, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. I'm at Primetime Klein. Halfway to my goal. So let's try to get there for me. I would greatly appreciate it. Next time you'll hear from Game Over is Tuesday when the Flames take on the Florida Panthers. Please remember, like this video, share it with your friends. Thank you all so much. Thank you to Noah for carrying me while I was hacking away here. And we will all talk to you next time.
Game over! Powered by Sports Interaction, Canada Sportsbook.